Right then, let's get straight into it. The Bahrain Grand Prix. Wow, already the first race of 2025 with a repeat winner.
Yeah, things moving fast.
So today we're doing our deep dive into, everything that really mattered from that Bahrain weekend.
And we've got a good mix of stuff to look at: the race reviews, all the commentary, the analysis.
And the official results too, just the cold, hard facts.
Exactly. It's great having both, isn't it? You see the final order, but also kind of how it all happened, the story behind it.
That's the plan. For everyone listening, we're going to try and pull out the really key moments. The big overtakes, the strategy calls that worked or didn't.
And how the drivers felt about it all afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. We want you to feel totally up to speed on the race, properly informed, but without, having to read every single report out there.
And Bahrain, it's often a decent benchmark, isn't it? Early season form.
Yeah.
It tells us a bit about the pecking order.
Definitely. The conditions, the track layout, what happens here can set the tone. Okay, so let's kick things off with the winner, Oscar Piastri. Seriously commanding victory.
Oh, totally. Pole position, converts it on his 50th F1 start. Pretty much perfect weekend for him.
The reviews really highlighted how much control he seemed to have. Russell pushed him a bit at the start, didn't he?
Yeah, there was that moment into turn one. Russell locked up slightly, but Piastri just held his ground. After that, he just built that lead.
And even after the safety car bunched everyone up?
He nailed the restart. Just clean away. Pulled out, 15 seconds by the end? Comfortable.
That really shows confidence, composure.
It does, and it suggests the McLaren was genuinely quick there. Plus, being the first driver to win 2 races this season, that's a statement.
And McLaren's first ever win in Bahrain, right? He mentioned that afterward.
Yeah, he did. Said it was an incredible weekend, really proud, especially getting it done in Bahrain for the team owners. You could tell it meant a lot.
It must feel good, especially at a track where they haven't always, been the strongest. That calm, consistent pace was something the reviews picked up on too.
Absolutely. A big confidence booster for the whole team, you'd think. Sets them up nicely.
Okay, behind him though, that fight for second. Wow. Russell and Norris going at it right to the end.
Super close. What was the gap? 0.7. 0.7 instead of 4 seconds, officially.
Tiny margin. But hang on, Russell was under investigation after the race?
Yeah, for a possible DRS infringement, using the drag reduction system when maybe he shouldn't have. Still waiting on the final word for that, I think.
Right, okay. So that P2 could potentially change.
Yeah.
But focusing on Norris, P6 to P3, even with that 5-second penalty?
Yeah, for being slightly out of his grid box at the start, that's a heck of a recovery drive.
The reviews loved his first lap, didn't they? On the softs, just making up places, aggressive.
Definitely. And he had that battle with Leclerc later on, went off track trying to pass, had to give the place back. Shows how hard they were pushing.
But it's interesting, he sounded quite downbeat afterwards, despite the podium.
Yeah, he did. Said he made mistakes, felt he could have done better, even seemed surprised to be leading the championship, said he wasn't feeling totally comfortable yet.
Really? Leading the championship but not comfortable.
That's what he said. Needs to figure out why things aren't quite clicking perfectly for him. It's very self-critical.
And some commentary noted his driving style exciting, gets overtakes done, but maybe sometimes pushes just over the edge.
Yeah.
Leads to those little errors or penalties.
Possibly. It's a fine line, isn't it?
Let's switch to Ferrari then. Leclerc started on the mediums, which was different.
Yeah. Most others were on softs. So strategy-wise, looked like they were aiming for a longer first stint. Initially lost places, but then it seemed like it might be paying off.
Until the safety car came out.
Exactly. That just reset everything. And apparently he struggled a bit on the hard tires after that, cost him a podium spot in the end.
He sounded pretty disappointed missing out on the first podium of the season. Felt the potential was there, maybe.
Seems like it, but compare that to Hamilton. P9 start, finishes P5.
Yeah, that was a strong drive. Saw him battling Sainz, Verstappen, even the rookie Antonelli. Some reviews had him as driver of the day.
It's interesting because Leclerc out-qualified him by a fair bit, but Hamilton had the better race pace or maybe managed the tires better. Shows his racecraft.
And what about the strategy calls? Leclerc suggested a one-stop at one point.
Apparently so, yeah. But they went for the double stack under the safety car, both onto mediums. Fred Vasseur, the team boss, called it a mixed feeling.
Mixed? How so?
Well, scored decent points, more than some rivals, but felt the safety car timing really hurt them. He also seemed surprised how long the soft tires lasted in the cooler conditions.
Right. Leclerc called it a baby step forward, but said they need many more. So progress, but not quite there yet for Ferrari.
That seems to be the vibe. cautiously optimistic, knowing there's still a gap to close.
Okay, now the team everyone was talking about, probably for the wrong reasons. Red Bull. A really difficult weekend. Verstappen P7 on the grid, finished P6.
Yeah, very unusual. The reviews mentioned loads of issues. Pit stops weren't smooth, slow front right release on both, I think.
And he was complaining a lot on the radio.
Oh yeah, everything is overheating, can't even brake anymore. Sounds like some pretty fundamental problems with the car in those Bahrain conditions.
Blimey. But still, even with all that, dropping back, he still nicks P6 on the last lap from Gasly.
Typical Verstappen, isn't it? Never gives up, snatches every possible point.
And Tsunoda. First points for Red Bull Racing for him, P9.
Yeah, and he got into Q3 for the first time with them too. That's a positive step for him. Had a little glitch with the pit light system, apparently, but overall, a decent weekend for him personally, especially with Max struggling.
Good for him. Okay, other teams getting points on the board, Alpine. Finally, Gasly P7.
That must be a massive relief for them. First points of the season.
Gasly started way up in P4, didn't he? Because of penalties from Mercedes.
He did. Bit gutted, probably, to lose P6 to Verstappen right at the end after holding him off for so long.
That was down to an early stop strategy working out.
Seems so. Ollie Oakes, the team principal, sounded really pleased. They needed that result.
Definitely a morale boost.
Yeah.
Haas, too. Double points for them. Ocon P8 and Ollie Bierman P10.
Yeah, Behrman started P20, dead last, gets a point. Fantastic drive.
Incredible effort, especially jumping in late like that.
Yeah.
The commentary was full of praise. Ayao Komatsu must have been ecstatic.
Oh, absolutely. A huge result for Haas.
And the Mercedes rookie, Antonelli, just missed out on P11.
Yeah, close. He was running in the points earlier, though. Got that grid penalty before the race, too. Still, a solid showing for a rookie. Good experience.
So lots going on down the field. Sainz retired, didn't he? After contact with Tsunoda.
Yeah, looked like race-ending damage there. And quite a few penalties handed out across the board.
Norris for the grid box. Russell maybe for DRS. Lawson got one for hitting Hulkenberg.
Sainz got one earlier, too, I think. Shows how on the limit everyone was. Lots of close racing, lots of overtaking mentioned in the commentary.
Hamilton had a nice move on Duhan noted. Albon the only Williams finisher in P12. And Russell mentioned car problems near the end.
He did, yeah. Said the last 10 laps were really tough. Some kind of brake-by-wire issue, which affects the electronic braking.
Not ideal.
Not ideal at all. And potentially steering issues, too. Said he was genuinely scared he might lose steering. Holding on to P2 with those problems is pretty remarkable.
Definitely shows his skill. Okay, quick word on tires. Mostly softs to start, but Leclerc and Hamilton on mediums.
Yeah, and the softs lasted better than maybe some expected in the cooler evening air. That surprised Vasseur, as we said.
Verstappen really didn't like the hards, though.
No, seemed to struggle badly on those. And Mercedes put Russell on used softs for that final stint. Quite a long one. A bit of a gamble.
But it paid off for P2.
It did. Strategy playing a big part, as always.
All right, so finally, looking ahead. Jeddah next. Saudi Arabia. Very different track.
Oh, yeah. High-speed street circuit. Walls are close. Very unforgiving. A proper challenge.
Piastri sounded pumped for it, said he wants to crack on and win again, carrying that momentum.
And the reviews, like David Vecchi's, were already talking about the next race, that McLaren intra-team battle heating up.
Definitely one to watch. So, wrapping up Bahrain. Piastri dominant, Russell holds off Norris in a thriller, Ferrari make progress but want more, Red Bull have a weekend to forget, and great points for Alpine and Haas.
Yeah, I think this deep dive shows Bahrain gave us a lot more than just the result. Some real storylines emerging for the season already.
Absolutely. And maybe here's something to chew on for next time. We saw Piastri's dominant win, Norris fighting hard. Is that McLaren battle, the one everyone predicted, already becoming the main story of 2025? And how much could a totally different track like Jeddah shake things up next week? Could change the whole picture again.
Interesting thought. Jeddah will definitely test them all in different ways. Can't wait to see.